I have to commend New York City. I have to commend the New York City public schools because they are they're going for it. They are showing their commitment to following this law of banning cell phones for students during the school day. And so what they've done is they have put up quite a bit of money for schools to have some sort of system to store those phones. And now what that does is that allows the superintendent to stand strong and tall and say to parents, this is what we are doing. We're saying no to these distractions in school. We have a safe, effective place for students to store their cell phones, and they can have access to their cell phones at the end of the day. Love it. Check this out. How much is your New York City school getting for state's new cell phone ban? Each New York City public school is entitled to a one-time funding amount of $25.90 per student, determined by the number of students in grades 3 through 12, according to Education Department documents. For the city's most densely populated schools, the price tag to implement the ban is an eye-popping Brooklyn Tech, the nation's largest high school, is getting more than $145,000. Francis Lewis High School in Queens is getting more than $122,000, and Brooklyn's James Madison High School is receiving more than $110,000. In all, the city is sending more than $16 million to schools, according to the July 24th budget documents. Officials had previously said they earmarked $29 million, with the city contributing about $25 million and the state kicking in another $4 million. When asked about the discrepancy, the Education Department officials said they plan to use the additional money to support schools as needs arise. The funds can go towards purchasing pouches or setting up cell phone lockers from the Education Department approved sellers, including at schools that already had bans in place. Roughly 800 of the city's 1,600 schools already collected phones or allowed students to carry their phones locked in a pouch. That's a Yonder pouch. And so that's really good. As of last month, 26 states banned or limited cell phone usage in K through 12 schools, according to Ballotpedia. Many New York City educators have been longing for a more consistent approach to cell phones, but some students and their parents are concerned about time-consuming storage logistics and the ability to connect during emergencies. That is the biggest that's going to be the biggest argument, and it's a legitimate argument from families about what to do during emergencies, and that takes leadership and messaging to to it's not going to fully satisfy, but to send the message to parents that, hey, we hear you, we got you. In the event of an emergency, we are going to follow our protocols, and we're going to keep your child safe. And when it is appropriate, you will be reunited with your child as soon as possible. Even though schools must provide at least one way for parents to contact their children in the case of emergency, including a direct number for the school, some families say those numbers don't always work. Now, that's up to the schools to really fix that, to go over, to go above and beyond to make those parents feel comfortable. And no policy will be foolproof. Of course, students have found ways around the rules, putting dummy phones in storage lockers or figuring out ways to unlock the pouches. Oh my gosh, I've seen outright vandalism on these Yonder pouches. I was a fan of the Yonder pouches. Sorry, I don't have an issue with Yonder, but yeah, I've seen students just straight up vandalize those pouches. And so I think the best way is to have best thing to do is have the storage locker. So if you find a student with the phone, you can easily just give them consequences, not even messing around to do any kind of investigation. You didn't well you put a phone in the storage locker, but you didn't put the phone in the storage locker. So consequences for you, as opposed to letting them keep their pouch. Yeah. Possible consequences for violating the rules include confiscating devices. Not a fan of confiscating student devices. Hundreds of dollars. those devices cost. I don't like it, and especially I don't like telling. I don't like teachers. I don't like teachers being directed to confiscate devices. I don't like it at all. I don't want it. Though schools cannot suspend students solely for using devices during the school day, well, see, there you go. Now we're buckling here. Now we're buckling here. They're clearly breaking the rules, and you're taking things off the table. I'm not saying that they need to be suspended for the first offense, but if they're caught damage a pouch, strike one. They put a okay, so we go to the storage locker. They put a drop phone in the storage locker, and they have the real phone. Like you got to send the message. You have to follow the rules. They can suspend students for repeated refusal to surrender or store phones. Okay, there we go. Okay, I feel better now. I feel better now. I mean, you got to follow the rules. Period. You got to hold them accountable. Schools Chancellor Melissa Avilés Ramos emailed a letter to families earlier this month urging them to review the city's recently revised school cell phone policy. I like that, letting the parents know this is what it is. Her note included an anecdote from Urban Assembly Gateway School for Technology's principal about how implementing a ban last year transformed the vibe in and out of the classroom. Listen to this. Within the first week, teachers were saying they were finishing their lessons they used to last year 5 to 10 minutes faster because of the lack of interruption from phones and the increased engagement. Another principal wrote, the cafeteria actually felt like a high school. Students at tables were talking to each other. Oh, wow. They were looking at each other in the eyes as opposed to texting them. The yard was packed with kids playing sports. Oh my gosh. This is awesome. Students will not be allowed to use internet-enabled devices, including cell phones, tablets, and smartwatches during school hours while on campus. Does that include lunch? Including schoolyards and athletics fields. Students can take their devices if they go off campus for lunch. Yes, I love it. Yeah, good. Exceptions to the ban include students with medical conditions. You got to have exceptions. Like, you have to have it. Translation needs and devices required for students' special education plan. Now, I think that this is a bit of a loophole that will be exploited, because a parent can say, you know what? I think my child needs to be able to use their phone during the day. I think we should put that in there. I think they're going to learn better. We should put that in their IEP. That's a loophole right there. And just get rid. It is what it is. That's going to be a loophole. It will be exploited. Student caregivers might also be allowed to keep their devices on a case-by-case basis, and that's a good consideration. That really is. I mean, because some of these students, some of the students, they are caring for younger siblings. Some of them are caring for their own children. That's a tough one. But I mean, let's look at just look at this list. I really do like this. I like that the schools are being given the resources that they need to really implement this. Like, they're really going after this. Look at this school gets close to $34,000, $72,000 to this school to come up with a way to store these phones. Now, I know the folks at Yonder, they're salivating because they're going to get quite a bit of this money. But yeah, thousands and thousands of dollars are, but that's the key. Thousands of dollars are going into finding a system to do this the right way, to store these phones, to follow this law. So now superintendents, principals, you got cover. You can really do this thing. And I think as the anecdote up there before said, kids are more engaged. You're able to finish lessons sooner, and then you can give kids time back, or you can reteach as needed, because you're able to get through your lesson faster because you have less distractions. That's a good thing, and it's a wonderful thing that the city of New York is making this huge investment to get rid of these distractions in school.